Oh my goodness gracious, everybody. Is this the one that you have been waiting for? Who's to say? I don't know who you've been waiting for, but that's right. This is Mutant Academy. This is where Sal from Comic Pop, hey there, Sal.
What up?
And me, DJ, we talk about the X-Men. And in a broader sense, it's not X-Men Academy, it's Mutant Academy, mutants, X-adjacent characters, like say a Mr. Pool, a Mr. Deadpool.
Yes.
And that is where we are this week. This is episode 8. We are talking about Deadpool, which came out in 2016, directed by Tim Miller, who didn't do anything prior to this and has gone on to such prestigious movies as Terminator Dark Fate.
You know, it's not as bad as the last two. Or three.
Which was Genesis and the other one.
Oh, yeah, Genesis and I guess Salvation.
Salvation, who's to say?
Salvation wasn't horrible, but it was also like Salvation's one of those things where it's like I remember watching it and being like, "Oh, I don't like anything that I'm watching, but I also am like I liked a lot of this better than 3."
Yeah,
the Machines.
It's one of those. It's one of the Terminator is one of those franchises. Already on a tangent, dude.
I know.
Already on a tangent. It's one of those franchises where it can't escape the like every sequel. I'm like, why are we doing this though? We already
you didn't justify yourself. It shouldn't exist though. Oh well.
Close the loop. It was perfect, and I don't know why we're here.
I was so ready for Dark Fate, and then like the first 2 seconds, I was like,
fell in the trap of the digital de-aging and all the.
No, that looked unbelievable.
Yeah,
I still have never seen it better. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah,
and then, but then, you know, they're like, everything that you like and care about this franchise is over.
Yeah, the one thing it understood,
do that every time.
The one thing I understood that no other sequel did was that Sarah Connor is as crucial to the franchise as the Terminator is.
Yeah. The show did that too, though.
And better, we've had this discussion. The show is after 2, I recognize the show, and that's it.
Right. No, it's
and even you have to, because the show didn't end, really, you even have to recognize that with like an asterisk of like, it's its own thing.
Big time.
Anyway, Deadpool, written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, which I believe they're the Zombieland writers. I should have that.
That's cool. That's smart.
And the synopsis is a wisecracking mercenary gets experimented on and becomes immortal and yet hideously scarred, and sets out to track down the man who ruined his looks. That's
all right.
True. That's basically right. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 85% tomato meter score and an audience score of 90%. Fast, funny, and gleefully profane, the fourth wall busting Deadpool subverts superhero film formula with wildly entertaining and decidedly non-family friendly results. So, as always, this is up here at youtube.com/onlystupid-answers. If you prefer your podcast as audio, you can do that over patreon.com/onlystupid-answers. Also over there, that's where Sal and I do Spider-Versity, where we talk about Spider-Man stuff. If you're like, oh wait, are they going to mention the Madam Web trailer? Yeah, on Spider-Versity a few weeks from now. That's when we're going to talk about that, because boy, howdy, you better believe we have opinions, and we definitely discussed them before we went live.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick I was correct. They are the Zombieland writers.
Nice.
So yeah. Also, if you want us to read, this is live. So if you want us to read our comments, feel free to drop a super chat in there, and we will read your comment live on the air. Please and thank you. We thank you for your support as always. But listen, let's dive in. The show always runs long, so let's see what we can do. Let's see
what happens.
See what happens. Dive right in. Way of X. This is the part where we basically just go through the movie beat by beat. And we start off with a slow-mo opening credit sequence, which a bunch of comedic credits that if I weren't a hack and a fraud, I would have written them all down and read them, but I didn't. The one I did write down was God's Perfect Idiot.
Yeah.
Of course, referencing Ryan Reynolds. And also there was, see if you can help me with this one, Sal. One of the credit, obviously, it's all jokes about like superhero movie stuff that were tropes then.
Right.
And even more so almost, I think it's 7 years later, almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
And one of them is a gratuitous cameo.
Yes.
Which is?
I think it's Stan Lee.
Oh, yes, correct. Thank you. Because I was like, there's not a Deadpool 2, we get some like, hey, here's some other X people that are actually in the other movies. This one, surprisingly, none of that.
Yep.
So yeah, okay. Got it. Gratuitous cameo, funny inclusion. Also, it is whole generation of kids think Stanley created Deadpool. He did not.
I mean, yeah. Well, if they think that, then they think that he also created the Teen Titans because he's in the Teen Titans Go to the Movies movie. Like,
fair enough. He was also in the cameo in the first X-Men, and while him and it was Jack Kirby that created the original X-Men run.
He and Jack, yeah.
Yeah, only like 2 of the characters in that movie are from that run.
Right? No, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, no, he did not create like Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Wolverine.
Yeah. Fucking throw Claremont in there, man. He's the one you need to cameo in your X-Men movie.
Yes, it's weird that he hasn't been in them.
Yeah. He's still around, right?
Oh yeah, no, Claremont's still around. I saw him the other day. Not like to hang out.
He was hanging out. He came over to my house. We watched.
Yeah, he was over here. We watched another episode. We watched Last Action Hero. It was great.
Yeah, fuck. What a great movie. Anyway, sorry. So we then we flash forward before the credit sequence to Deadpool taking a cab ride with Dopinder, who it matters and doesn't matter in these movies. Right. He's kind of our friend, but not really. I don't know what I'm saying. Dopinder's in these movies.
He's in these movies. He's also Spider-Man India. So
I was literally just bringing that up. I'm like, DJ, don't fuck this up. Don't say that if you're not sure.
No, he is. Yeah, I remember them saying that, and they changed his costume and everything. And I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, he's great in that movie, and he is in this movie.
Yes,
he's great here too. He's fine.
He's better in this than he is in 2. 2 is like
I don't remember him being in 2.
Yeah, he really like he's mad at Pete, the one who doesn't have powers.
Okay, all right. So we cut from so Deadpool's basically like telling Dopinder, you gotta fight for love, some shit. This movie was released on Valentine's Day, and it's written as if they knew that was what was going to happen.
Yeah, I saw it on Valentine's Day. I saw it opening day. It was on a date. So.
And what's interesting is, I think watching it again, I don't know if I've seen this movie since I saw it in theaters.
Wow.
Watching it again, it's like it makes sense in that that's the part tipping my hand a little bit. I might not love this movie as much as everybody else does. The romance part of it, I think, works, and I think it's one of the parts of it that still works. But we're not there yet. We're just laying the seeds. He's saying you got to fight for love. We cut from Deadpool's ugly face to Ed Skrein's most beautiful face on the world. Like, God.
Yeah.
Remember, you watched Game of Thrones, right, Sal?
A little bit.
Remember when they cast Ed Skrein as like this guy that's supposed to be the most beautiful guy, and then he went on to do movies, and so they cast another guy. Did nothing against this guy. Attractive guy, but like fucking I'm comparing his face to Ed Skreин's face, and that's not fair to people. Come on.
I agree.
Don't do that to anybody. So he's doing a villain. I don't even remember. Literally, I watched the scene. I was writing notes, and as I was writing notes, I'm like, I forgot what this deal is for. It doesn't matter. He's doing villain shit.
Yep. No, that's very like the whole. Like, we're missing a lot from this, unfortunately. Like, this is an opportunity that they could have taken because there's like established lore that they want to play with, but also want to kind of buck. Yeah. Like we could do Department K, we could do Weapon X, like we could do any number of things. And they're like, no, different group. We borrowed a set from Saw, saved a bunch of money. And I'm like, I love that they saved money, but also I'm like, but what are you doing?
We're going to get into this because whenever I bring up criticisms for this movie, and we have a whole section X Factor behind the scenes, people are like, oh, no, the budget was cut. And I'm like, yeah, but also they spent that money on like an action sequence that's entirely CG. And so like maybe that's where you could do, your villain doesn't need to be like a waste of space. Like you could do fun, creative things. So much of this movie, I guess it's pushback for me of like people treating like this movie's like a revelation. It's like it's kind of doing the same thing every superhero movie does. Yeah, but says fuck, and for some reason that makes it like, oh, this is. It's like when everybody recently on Twitter, everybody learned that the Blade movie is going to be R and treated it as if like it was the second coming of Christ. I was like, that doesn't. The rating doesn't mean. I literally just watched Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a PG-13 movie based off a kid's video game where somebody gets on screen bitten in half. Right. The ratings don't mean anything.
They're made. Well, I mean, literally, like you could have a movie come back from the MPA and it's R.
Yeah.
You could make no cuts, send it back, and get a different rating because because a different panel will watch it. Like
Yes.
you could, or they have some weird, like one of the members of the panel has like a weird hang up about certain words or how much blood you see in a scene.
Yeah.
Like it is irrelevant. My issue, or not my issue, but like I think the reason why I'm always willing to give Deadpool a pass and why Deadpool is so beloved from the movie people's perspective, not just like fans perspective, but like because people who like these kind of movies, is because it is doing everything I want superhero movies to normally do. Endgame should not be the goal every time, you know? Part of the reason why Ant-Man Quantumania like fails is because it collapses under the weight of its being too big for its britches.
Yeah, as opposed to an Ant-Man 1 where it's like, yeah, this feels right.
We'll get Falcon to show up in the movie. You know what I mean? Like and no disparagement to Falcon, but he was still not the A-list of
he wasn't Captain America yet.
Yeah, we got Robert Downey Jr. as a cameo in Incredible Hulk because we just didn't have enough actors to cameo yet.
Like, and we also didn't quite realize what we had with Robert Downey. He wasn't. Oh, we were still in the process of making him Iron Man Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly. But but Deadpool manages to be small, focused, within budget, and still manages to also be like a story about the characters in it, and also make Deadpool look like Deadpool. Like it's not like, oh, I had to sacrifice, integrity or like the character's look or like story. I like the final fight takes place on a shield helicarrier. Like it is a multiversal movie.
Yeah. You know what, Sal? That's a really good argument. That's a really good argument for Deadpool. I like that argument.
Thank you. It doesn't overstep. It's just it stays in its lane.
I like that. And just for the kids at home, just know I like Deadpool 2 more than I like Deadpool 1.
Which is interesting because Deadpool 2 is bigger. It breaks the cardinal sin. Part of the reason why Tim's not back to make Deadpool 2 is because he's like, I want to keep it trim and I want to keep it simple. Yeah. And they were like, no, I want to go big like those Marvel movies. And it's like, why? Yeah. And part of the reason why I don't like Deadpool 2 as much is because it's too big.
We'll get into it then. We'll get into but
anyway,
but
it's a love story.
Francis is doing villain shit.
Yeah.
And then we cut to what was essentially, and we'll get into this more in the X factor of it. What is, for anybody that was around this time, the test footage that they leave. It's a redo of the test footage.
Yes.
And it's cool. It's a fucking cool. It's a fight in a car on a highway. It's fucking cool.
Yes, it's a fun scene. Yeah. It works. It gets the attention and it sells. I'm happy with it.
A good chunk of I can almost guarantee. Dude, I have in my notes the amount they spent on the test footage.
Really?
And it's like, what fucking universe do I live in? Anyway. I could make a whole movie for the money they spent on the test footage alone.
I know what you mean.
Anyway, so this all builds back to see, here's where we get into why DJ's not the biggest fan of Deadpool. Whole big fight or whatever. The car flips. This is where we get into what would have been the opening credit sequence. And Deadpool pokes his head out, and he's like, "Did I leave the oven on?" Wah wah, and it's like. Fuck you. fuck this. It's like, what if everything we gave Joss Whedon shit for, but like more of it? And
but kind of dumber.
Yes.
Or more obvious. Like I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he's charming. I think he's attractive. I think he's funny, and I think he's like
so attractive that he's still not that bad looking when we get to ugly Deadpool.
Well, and they talked about that actually. As I recall, Reynolds talked about like them having to play with like how unattractive he is, and like how they had to say he was more attractive than he actually looked because the studio was like, but we're paying for your face. And it's like, but my face, like, it doesn't matter. And they're like, no, but it is. Like, we're paying your number and your rate is built into like how attractive you are. And it's like, that's
not an inaccurate argument.
I know, I agree. I'm just like, but I also find that like gross and repugnant. But like the Ryan Reynolds, I may get into some controversy here because I think Ryan Reynolds isn't as funny as he thinks he is.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to get into trouble on this side of the panel,
right? I remember vividly.
I like Ryan Reynolds.
I like him too. I think he is funny, and I think he is charming, and I think he has charisma. But he also like it's like his method of improv is to try it all.
Yeah,
and then you cut what doesn't work, and you keep the best stuff. Sometimes it's one take Reynolds in this movie where it's like he makes fun of one of the characters, and he calls her less attractive or more angry Rosie O'Donnell, and I'm like, boy, what a biting reference in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got any Titanic jokes you want to lob at us as long as we're hitting these phenomena at the height of their popularity? Like, it's, you know, I'm just like, and you can tell, like, sycophants laughed a lot. And so he's like, well, then that's staying in the movie. And it's like, or you could try 4 more.
Yeah. Let's throw out a few other, you know, listen, man, you got writers for a reason.
Exactly.
You know,
there are writers and they're better than you.
And also, not for, I mean, like, Ryan Reynolds is a movie star.
Yes.
He's not necessarily a movie star that is often in comedies.
Right.
Not even comedies. Like the guy, friend of the show, Lon Harris, he kind of coined the idea of Red Notice, that Netflix movie being a whole genre of movies. Like a bunch of movies are a Red Notice.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is like king of he and Dwayne Johnson are like the king. No surprise, they're both in Red Notice. They're like the king of the Red Notice. So it's not even that he's in comedies. He's in comedy adjacent blockbusters, right?
Yes. Like,
so it's one of those, like, you're not, and especially when, like, you're in this movie, both the Deadpool 1 and 2 have, like, actual comedians in it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be like, what if they were the one that were
what if they wrote your bits?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, well, you know, I know you trust your process, but your process is the same as it was when you were in Waiting, which is just like Diet Kevin Smith, like, which is like, you know, some folk would be like, why would you even bother trying to, like, rip off a Kevin Smith movie? But, like, you know, I remember, and this is segueing into, like, did you ever see, there's a moment where Ryan Reynolds was not movie star Ryan Reynolds yet, and he was on some interview with some satellite thing because he was pretty.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he got a lot of, like, opportunities because of how attractive he is, and he always remained Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And, like many people, I understand, but, like, you know, he wanted to be a comedy improv actor. Like, he's like Conan O'Brien. Like, I wanted to be a stand-up comic, but I just didn't get there.
Yeah.
You know? And I remember him finding out that Kevin Smith was going to be the next interview in the satellite interview that they were doing.
Yeah.
And he's wanted to be in a Kevin Smith movie since, like, Clerks.
Yeah.
You could tell because he's basically been doing Jason Lee since the beginning of his career. And if you trace it, like, Jason Lee in Mallrats is basically what Ryan Reynolds has been trying to do for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that's true. But like he really wanted to be in a Kevin Smith movie. And so he's like, Kevin will not take my calls. Let's ambush him on live TV and I'll just talk to him and I'll use my face and my natural, you know, charisma. Smith had none of it. And it was really funny to see because it was like around the time,
especially now in the future that we live in. It's like that's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, Kevin was in a position.
Definitely take your calls now.
He's making the calls, you know, like, and it's just like I would have loved to see that because I was like, well, see, Ryan seems like charismatic and fun. Why not put him in one of your movies?
Yeah.
But Kevin was like, really, like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like you. I don't want to do that. And it's just funny to think about, like, Ryan Reynolds begging to be in a Kevin Smith movie.
How the turntables.
Exactly.
Because I'm assuming this was at the time where, like, fucking Kevin Smith could write his own ticket. There was a time where he was untouchable.
Yep. 1999, 2001.
Yeah. Yeah. That window, boom. It was a good time to be Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
So anyway, we get to leave the stove on joke. Colossus catches this whole debacle on the news. He decides he's going to intervene. We next get a sequence, a fight on the highway. By the way, everybody, we're going to spend a lot of time on this highway.
If you see it more than once, it's like, oh, this highway.
Yeah, that was another issue. It's like fucking 2 acts are spent on this fucking highway.
Yeah, and I appreciate at least the highway doesn't look like it's set in, like, East Europe.
Yeah, fair, and it's pre-volume.
Right.
So, you know, so anyway, and this sequence is fun. He's only got 12 rounds. This is a joke we're going to repeat, by the way, that he doesn't have because guns with him. But
I think it works. But I'm like, yes. Like, if I'd never heard the story about the budget,
yes,
I would have still bought it. Like, I would have liked it as a bit because sometimes I like when movies, you know, Whedon has made a career out of it, but, like, I love when movies, like, circumvent your expectations.
Yeah.
Or subvert them in a way where you're like, this is the part where a boring action sequence would happen. And then instead someone just like Indiana Jones shooting the swords guy.
Oh yeah, fucking classic.
Sometimes I just want that moment in a movie where I'm like, I've had enough action. Like, we don't need that. Or wouldn't it be more refreshing if the protagonist was smart enough to just shoot the guy with the sword?
Yeah. And happy accident, Harrison Ford was sick that day. That
Right?
Everybody knows that story, but it's like fucking iconic. What an iconic
because
moment.
if I didn't know that story, it would still work great.
Yeah.
Like it is Aragorn kicking the helmet, but like I appreciate the that there's a duality to it. But like that's Deadpool leaving the guns in the car. That's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny and it works and it allows for like him to have a harder time fighting. I'm like, this is smart.
It allows him an opportunity to whip out them swords.
Because he has swords.
He has them swords.
I want to see him use them.
We want to see the swords, but he's counting his rounds as he's shooting people. My favorite bit is where he gets mad at a guy on a motorcycle and like wastes like 3 rounds just trying to get this one guy. It's like I would do that.
Yep, me too. Yeah, and
then runs out of rounds. Another guy shows up. Deadpool stabs shish kebabs, I think is the term that is used. A guy with his swords, and I guess this is a good time for a flashback because this is when we decide
to have one.
Flashback. Here it is.
Is this the second flashback? Like, are we incepting? Like, is it a flashback within a flashback, or have we caught back up
yet? Because we start with the credits, and then we flash back to Dopinder in the taxi, but then we catch up to the credits, and now we flash back to a kid delivering a pizza to a douchebag, and most handsomest Wade is there.
Yes. Ideally.
But it turns out Swerve, he isn't there to kill the douche. He's a hitman, but he's not there to kill the douche. He's there to threaten the kid because the kid is a stalker. And see, we don't want our heroes to have arcs. So Wade Wilson already has a heart of gold, and he's already helping the little guy.
Yes, he's already there. Mm-hmm.
God forbid our protagonist is an asshole, even in the abstract, even for a second.
Nope. We know that he has the propensity for being a good person. Okay,
sure, great, cool,
but he is also sassy.
He's sassy. Same complaint with the Wolverine. Let your guy. It's called. This is why people love Iron Man for a couple reasons, not the least of which is Robert Downey Jr. All right. But also, he's one of the few superheroes we got, especially at the time, that had a fucking arc. He started off as a dick and he became not a dick. And then he kind of became a dick again. It was all over. The MCU is not the best example of cohesive arcs, but it was there. Right. Yeah. And people responded to it. Fucking let him be a bad person is all I'm saying. Anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he goes and this kid, I don't even remember the excuse of how this kid ended up on his radar. It doesn't matter.
Oh, some girl, like, some girl, but I sister.
I don't know how he knows the girl. Like,
no, like it's the girl is related to someone that
a guy and whatever.
Yeah.
So he goes to Sister Margaret's, which is a villain bar. I will tell you this: I am a sucker for a good villain bar. It's a bummer. In the two things I'd love in our era of connected universes and we're racing this stuff, still waiting for the iconic like Batman walking through Arkham and everybody's in Arkham. I mean,
that kind of happened in the Batman, but only a little bit.
Because we only had the two guys.
We had the two. Yeah.
I think it would be great if the Batman 2 jumps ahead and it's like they're all
Calendar
here.
Man, like everybody. Yeah,
they're all here. He's been doing the thing. 2, want a good villain bar, and I mean like villain bar where like a bunch of like villains we've seen and stuff is around. The closest I think we've gotten to that is in that All Hail the King short.
Yes,
where we brought back not Stain.
No, Justin
Hammer. And it's like, more of this, like
more of this
interacting with each other on the periphery.
Yeah, especially because they keep referring to stuff like they talk about, like in the video games and stuff with the raft and or back in the day, back in my time, it used to be the vault.
Yes, if you really guys want to go back to the vault. Yeah, man, give me more like villains interacting, whatever. This isn't obviously there's not a bunch of villains here, although they could have snuck in a couple ex-villains, doesn't matter. But
they did. They put Rob Liefeld in it.
Oh, is he in there?
Yeah, he literally says Liefeld and then hits him on the shoulder. And it's like, but it's one of those great moments where I'm like, yeah, these are cameo. That's a cameo.
That's a guy. That's the guy you should bring on the
see him?
Yeah.
No, that's a cameo.
That's a cameo. Yes. And also Liefeld's the one you bring into this one. Yes, he is.
Yeah, yeah. But where's Fabian Nicieza?
Fucking guys, get on it, man. Well, especially since not to take it to this place, but apparently, like, I think Brubaker was like, I got more money in my Winter Soldier cameo than I ever got for creating
it was
Winter Soldier.
Jim Starlin was in Infinity Ward. He's like,
Yeah.
I got paid more being in it than I did ever for making Thanos.
Yeah, so it's one of those, like, it's almost like a moral obligation that, like, fucking at least get the guy in a cameo in the movie,
right? At least give him a SAG, check.
Yeah, for real, man. And this is where we're introduced to TJ Miller, who I am told from the IMDb plays Weasel. In my notes, he's just TJ Miller.
He plays TJ Miller.
Yeah,
like, the last time I saw him act was in Gravity Falls. Like, it's
oh
TJ
yeah,
Miller.
He's
fun. He's funnier.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I remember at the time of like TJ Miller, like, especially if you never see Deadpool's face. And now, you know what? We could call that wasn't what we did.
Yeah, you'd have a problem on your hands. But like,
problem.
Yeah.
God bless Ryan Reynolds for by seemingly not being a problem.
Right, for not being an open problematic scumbag. Like, thank you.
Yeah,
dumbass.
What, he's got so many side hustles. He did the one, and he brought in Grant Gustin, and that was like, this is funny. This was a good bit. Also, when I was looking up clips for this movie, ran across the thing he did with Taika Waititi as Korg.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is good.
That was cool.
Free Guy. That's what they were promoting.
Free Guy, yeah, because Free Guy, because I think Disney inherited Free Guy, so they were like, let's put more crap in it.
Yeah,
let's Wreck-It Ralph 2 this mother.
And listen, I'm not against it. Free Guy, do whatever you want with Free Guy.
Well, Free Guy is so crappy. Just do what? Yeah, make it Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yeah, fuck it. Who gives a shit? Wade integrates a bar fight, and this is basically entirely an excuse to get to the idea that there is a dead pool of people at the bar voting on who's going to die next. Did we need a backstory for Deadpool's name?
No.
No,
but I think there's a concern that if we'd had nothing, they would have been like, it's too meta. He's just referring to being the comic book character.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. And this is where we get introduced to our third incredibly attractive person, Vanessa, played by Miranda Baccarin.
What a smart idea. Miranda Baccarin. She's not only breathtaking, but also is a great actor and is fun. Like, last time I saw her was like Firefly. So please, for the love of God, put her in more things. Now, I know she was in that reboot that they made.
She was in Gotham.
If you were lucky enough to have
avoided that, good decision.
I saw 2 seconds of that, and I'm like,
no, thank you. No, thank you.
She's great.
She's great. She is beautiful, and she has incredible chemistry with Ryan Reynolds. Like,
yes, put her in the MCU, please.
Yeah,
make her copycat. Let's go.
And they flirt by sharing their fucked up backstories.
Love it. That's what this movie is. The movie should be, because I know it's not safe, right? This movie is not safe. It's not made by a studio that gets away with making like dangerous or even complicated movies.
Yeah.
But because I mean, she's a prostitute or a sex worker, but but once she meets him, she stops all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, she wants a home, she wants to have children. Like, she does want the good life, but she also seems to love also being grody, like he is. And so it's a skin on a standard love story, like grody prostitutes, like, but
but I do think it's a good example of what I think we're saying works about the movie. But this is a standard issue superhero film.
Yes,
it's just like you said, it's just a little bit grosser about it. It's just a little bit
like they, not even that, like they maybe, like, it's actually more like a Star Wars movie, because they're like, well, no, like, there's dirt on the ground. It's not like a Marvel movie.
Yeah. Things have been around prior to 5 seconds before filming.
Exactly. Like, we used a set.
Yeah. And I think this all works. The skee ball day of Voltron ring. They have sex throughout the holidays.
That's cute.
Credit to this movie for having the first superhero get pegged on screen. It will always be remembered for that.
Naturally, I remember it being a thing and nobody being upset.
Yeah, I mean, they probably would be now, wouldn't they?
Big time.
Because this is February 2016. This isn't before we got to the bad times of 2016.
Yeah.
Also credit where it's due. Sex positive in a mostly sexless MCU. Deadpool 1 is a very sex positive movie.
Yeah, big time.
Good for Deadpool.
Right? Good for him. And how couldn't you be when you're dealing with Ryan Reynolds and Marina Baccarin?
Yeah, like you gotta be. Come on, man.
It's like it's gonna come up. I mean, come on.
It was this weird, like, fuck, those two would make very beautiful babies. They'd make the most attractive kids on the planet.
Well, he did marry Carol Ferris, so you know, I mean,
he's already doing.
He's already doing his part, making beautiful people in the world. Yeah,
he's just putting more beautiful rich people in the world, like we need.
Thank God.
Thank God. We're going to run out.
More, please fix this.
It's better than like those like gross ass billionaires that marry the models, where it's like roll of the dice how these kids are going to turn out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we learn that Wade proposes to Vanessa with a ring pop. It collapses immediately, and he learns he has late stage cancer. Flashback over. I gonna just put this in there now. I do not care for the way this movie is structured.
It is kind of all over the place, isn't it?
It's not. I don't mind not being chronological.
Yeah,
it's just where we decide those breaks happen seems very haphazard.
Yeah, almost like it's budgetary.
Yes, and I think the flashback structure ends like halfway through the second act.
Yeah,
and it's like that's
just throw that out.
All right, whatever, man.
I know.
Okay, so we're back on the highway. God, fuck this highway. And Francis arrives. Good old Francis, beautiful ass Ed Screen. Yep. And they Deadpool fucks him up. Yeah. He's about ready to kill him, but Colossus shows up with Negasonic Teenage Warhead, which I meant to look up before this. I believe is a Grant Morrison joint.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing like this character, but too good a name to pass up. I believe that Marvel got Ego as a result of her.
Great. Was Ego tied up with the Fantastic Four?
Yeah. Ego was a Fox property, so they were like, we'll let you have Negatonic and whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I like the horse trading. I like the.
I'm fine with. I love that. I think that's cute. It's almost like baseball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who gets what when? So, Colossus shows up. And is that it? We're back to the flashbacks. Fuck me. All right.
Yeah. Also, Colossus, big change. Yes. This one also does its part as being an X-Men movie in the Fox franchise for baffling casting choices that make you go, is this another universe? Is this the same universe? What's happening?
What's the connection here? Because Cudmore, or Daniel Cudmore, who played Colossus in the other movies, but I don't think spoke one line.
Yeah, he says a couple things. He doesn't sound like this though.
No, he was like, no, I'm not going to do motion capture and that just have somebody voice it, which is the good decision. Yeah. If they're not going to let you play the guy, don't throw them the bone of half playing the guy.
Yes.
This is fine. I like Colossus as a character in the comics. I don't know that I've gotten the Colossus I want in the movie.
No, you haven't gotten this, but I think this is the closest one because he is Russian and he does have like a gentle soul, and it
is a perfect foil for Deadpool in this movie because you need that kind of straight shooter guy, to help you not think about like, wait, isn't Deadpool just like any anti-hero we've ever gotten? No, we need to put him next to somebody, make him seem edgier. He's even edgier than you think he is.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely that's chemistry. But at the same time, it's also him standing next to a big CG character. So it's like we're in this world, we're cementing it in this place, we're having fun in the, you know what I mean? Because it would have been very easy for them to pick like not Cyclops, but like Havoc. You know, someone who doesn't need to necessarily display their powers, and you know, and you won't really worry about them or care about them. This is a fun thing, and you've never gotten it. You've never gotten this version
back. This was the right call, but James Marsden back as Cyclops would have been. You could have gotten some pretty good mileage out of that one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You could have gotten some good mileage out of that.
That's okay. I never thought about that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, James Marsden. There would have been more like, wait, isn't he dead? What? But Days of Future Past, we're around it now.
No, he's back. He's back. And this takes place before, like, before that.
Because James Marsden's one of the I'm glad we're at a stage now between I think like Westworld and Jury Duty even before that.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, of course, where we've learned that James Marsden is like a treasure. He was just wasted in those movies.
Yeah.
So there's part of me that's like, yeah, he would have. Ryan Reynolds and James Marsden could have had some fun together.
Big time.
But listen, you're right. It's visually, the silhouettes are very different. You put James Marsden and normal ass Ryan Reynolds next to each other, a little too similar.
Well, you got two beautiful people who are who's just trying to outact each other. That's not going to happen, although that would have been great.
It would have been great. I don't think this is where we get Deadpool sassing back at Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Not yet. It's after he breaks everything. Like after Francis gets away.
That's pretty good. That seems pretty good. I like that. Anyway. Back in the flashback, some dude in a suit is looking for Way in the bar. He offers Way to cure for cancer in exchange for quote unquote making him a superhero.
Yeah, what the hell's that mean? Like, and why? Like, his belief in this. I mean, I understand because, like, we could have seen like a whole Man of the Moon kind of pursuit of him doing all the different, phony cures for cancer. But at the same time, like, we're gonna make you a superhero. That's all they say. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like it's a metaphor for like we're gonna make you a franchise.
Yes.
And at the end of it, it's like this isn't really a franchise. Like, but I don't know if it. But then it's like, no, we don't believe it's a it's maybe it is actually a metaphor for like the Fox treatment of the Deadpool character, where it's like we're gonna make you a franchise. You're gonna be like Wolverine or X-Men.
Yeah.
And then when he volunteers, they go, "You're not really part of a franchise. There's no franchise. No one's going to go see a Deadpool franchise." And then at the end of it, he's like, "I'm going to make a a out of it."
It's like you were putting way. I like all of that.
I don't know. Maybe
that's a great thesis. I think you're putting way more thought into it than the filmmakers ever did. Because for me, it throws me off when, like, in the X-Men universe, where they're like superhero. It's like, do they even really? The X-Men are not considered that,
right?
Like, what does that term mean in the X-Men universe?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, whatever. I like your take on it though. And have you ever met somebody that diagnosed with cancer that's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna die?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's Wade would be that person. Like, I'm not gonna do any of the things. But I like the setup where for Vanessa, he decides to do it. That night, I just want to point out some of the jokes I did really like. He's like brooding in the corner, and Vanessa wakes up. She's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I had a dream where I took Liam Neeson's daughter, and he was not having it." And I'm like, "That was a pretty good joke. That was a pretty good joke."
That's funny. Yeah.
They take it one step too far. He's like, "They've made 3 of those movies. You think people are like, no, that was good,
right?
The joke you had was perfect. You could have stopped there."
It's just it. Yeah. It's the It's just he says all of it.
Yeah.
The editor and the director go, we'll just keep that part.
Yep.
That's all you need.
That's all you need, man. That's all you need. So yeah, he decides to go, oh wait, the flashback over again. Fuck me. All right. Deadpool bickers with we're back on the fucking highway. Fuck, just end the highway scene and then do a flashback. Why are we doing it this way? Anyway, whatever. Deadpool bickers with Colossus. Francis escapes. Colossus decides to take Deadpool to the professor. Deadpool is angry at Colossus. This bit's funny too. He tries to beat up Colossus and he breaks all his bones hitting Colossus.
Yeah, it also is a great way to display like this is who he is. This is how his power set. This is what he can get away with. This is what he can't get away with. Yeah. It also like pushes the envelope of the rating. It's like, oh, this is kind of grotesque. Yeah.
He's going to take Wade back to talk to the professor, and Deadpool says McAvoy or Stewart.
I love that.
To keep track of. Here's my issue, Sal, and I know nobody gives a shit, right?
Right.
What is Deadpool? It's one thing in the comics where Deadpool is aware of the comics, right? It's another thing. There's this whole other layer of now he's being portrayed by an actor. What am I supposed to understand as an audience member that Deadpool is aware of?
Right.
He's aware of the X-Men franchise. He's aware that there's multiple versions of the Professor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's 2 ways to look at it, I think. There's one way that is like he's selectively clairvoyant. Or fourth wall breaking. He is like it comes in waves, like in a moment he's aware he's in a cartoon character. He's a cartoon character. And on another, it's that Deadpool knows he's being played by Ryan Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
And Deadpool sometimes comes through.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're not meant to care. Like,
I know. And I like the fact that it's like it is selective, because then otherwise
why would he care that he has cancer? Because he's gonna know he's gonna be Deadpool. Like,
and I do think they bungle it a little bit. I think you would have gotten some leverage out of saying he was normal, then this happened, then he's not. But as he's being taken in, he makes a Green Lantern joke,
right?
And it's like, well, fucking. I think it's one of those like I really like, and I kind of wish this movie had done.
Yeah,
it's so funny that we like got all the Community and Rick and Morty writers. Dan Harmon, for people that've watched Community, I know Sal just watched it recently, continuously rips on the MCU, specifically in Community and in Rick and Morty.
Yes,
and yet his brand is almost more responsible because you don't get the Russos without Community. Yep. You don't get Loki or She-Hulk or Doctor Strange without Rick and Morty writers.
Yep.
Like his house is almost as responsible for the MCU as Kevin Feige is.
He has punched up dialogue for them.
Yes. And
he's worked for them. He's taken their money.
Yes. And I wish because I think the best use of this is Abed in Community.
Oh yeah.
And I think the way I would have rectified.
He's consistent too.
Yes. Nobody cares except me. If I were writing this, I was like, when he went through this treatment, his brain broke and he talks as if he's in a movie and nobody else thinks he is. And it so happens, like Abed, that he is correct. He is in a movie.
Exactly. I like that. I think even if they just go, he's normal until he goes through the procedure.
Yeah.
And then he's Deadpool now. And Deadpool has many powers. He can't die. He can regenerate. And he is aware he is in a movie based on. Yeah. And he has cosmic awareness. That's all. Yeah, that's true.
Do you think because Deadpool 3 we're going to get the multiverse, do you think they'll bother to be like, oh, by the way, wink, this cosmic, he's always been vaguely aware of the multiverse?
Oh, I think we're going to get another character who also can like break the fourth wall. Like, I think we're going to have a character. I don't know who it will be.
Yeah.
It could be anybody. It could be Adam X, whatever they want. But, like, we're going to have a character show up. It could be Longshot. Somebody who, like, they can throw away.
Longshot would be fucking hilarious.
Right?
Oh, my God. With the mullet, the whole shebang.
And he's like, what up? But I think that it would be delightful to get Deadpool set against the MCU. I think that we're going to get Deadpool taken out of his comfort zone in a big way.
Yeah.
Like where he is going to throw all of his usual things at this problem and be stymied by an equal force.
Yeah. Yeah. An equal but opposite force. It would be good to have, that'd be interesting if there was an antagonist that was also like,
that could also do that.
Just do evil Deadpool. Like, what the fuck are we even doing?
I mean, you could do like Cullen Bunn's Deadpool, like the Deadpool from Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, who is aware, who goes to kill the writers. Like, you could do that. And it's like, he came from there. He did this. He's killing the movie things now. Like,
So anyway. So back. Yes. Wait, where am I? I've all these flashbacks, man. Okay. So I guess, Colossus puts Deadpool in cuffs and Deadpool cuts his arm off to free himself. This is going to lead to some jokes I find very funny later with the fucking baby hand. He also says, as he's doing this, he's like, he makes a reference to, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." What does that have to do with what's happening?
I think it's just that Ryan Reynolds wanted to make that joke.
Okay. Because I've not read the book or seen the movie. Does she cut her hand off in that movie?
I don't know.
Okay. We'll have to check back in. Any Judy Blume fans out there, let us know if there's arm amputation in Are You There, God?
He does make an 127 Hours reference as well.
Yeah.
So
that's a good movie. That's a good Danny Boyle joint, by the way, everybody. Although the scene he's referring to is harrowing.
Right.
Anyway, we back in the past, we meet Gina Carano. And he says he's betting on her having Wang.
Yep.
And so this whole sequence is aged not great. Let's just say.
Yeah, no, it's not
great. It's not the best sequence in the movie.
You know what it is? It's like Ryan Reynolds came up during a time when like that kind of humor was like casual. It's very like ubiquitous among his kind of movies that he made. And he has graduated into being a movie star, but he is so big and attractive he thinks he can get away with doing that anyway.
Yeah.
And he still does.
And I think, listen, if we weren't living in a time, I think also 2016 is a time where like we were still relatively naive as a culture about this stuff. Like there's still that sense of like, we've moved past these petty prejudices of our previous history. And then by the end of 2016, we're like, oh, I guess Oh no, never.
Oh no, not at all.
That was very naive of us. For all of us that thought that was very naive of us.
Yeah.
Anyway, they torture Wade to activate his mutant gene.
Yeah. What?
Is he in the comics? I don't remember. Is he just a mutant?
He's a mutate. He is not a mutant at all.
So
and I think they did that here too, like where they're like, we're gonna like everyone. I don't know what the hell this movie's trying to say. Like everyone's a mutant. I don't know.
They definitely wanted like, okay, we need to connect this more to the X-Men.
Yes.
So he can't just not be a mutant. So I guess we can activate his mutant. Don't Cloak and Dagger have a similar, like they did so much drugs that now they're mutants or something?
They were, yes, because they're also like on the cusp. Like they were mutants, and then I think they changed it.
Well, because then you'll get those depending on who has the rights at the time. We're like, oh, by the way, Wanda and Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver aren't mutants anymore.
I know. We still didn't fix that. We had all of Krakoa, and they still didn't fix it. By the way,
they still haven't fixed that shit.
No. And they did 2 Wanda stories.
Oof.
They still didn't fix it.
Oof. So whatever, they were torturing him. We set up the fact that Angel Dust, who's Gina Carano's character, has a match in her mouth just to set up Wade headbutting her to get the match that's in her mouth. He's in like basically a hyperbaric chamber where they're like keep him right on the edge of suffocating. It's kind of like waterboarding somebody with air.
Yeah. Horrific.
Yeah, it's not great. And at some point in this is where his mutant power he becomes ugly. Francis takes one look at him like, I activated your mutant power. Now you're immortal. It's like, are you not going to run tests? All right. And also, am I to understand his ugliness is
his power
mutant based? Is his part of his mutant thing?
Yeah, I think so.
I kind of wish they'd spend a little bit more time that like the cancer you have is fucking up the fact that you have cancer and
I think that's what it is. I think certainly the cancer is why he looks like that.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
It's like you will heal forever now, but also you are now living cancer.
Yes, I think that's exactly what it is. That's certainly how I interpret it.
Yeah, I think that works. I do wish for all the jokes, and you just explained why. For all the jokes about how ugly he is, I wish they'd made it more upsetting.
I know it needs to be because you need him to be, for whatever reason, he's wearing a mask no matter what, folks. It's either going to be the ugly mask or the awesome Deadpool mask. But like, they're still operating under Tobey Maguire rules, where it's like take the mask off every 5 seconds, and it's like he doesn't care. He's taking a pay cut to be in this movie. He wants to make the movie. It's Dredd, folks. Put him in the helmet. Never take it off.
Yeah, and again, credit for whatever shit I'm talking and whatever we're talking about. You don't get this movie without Ryan Reynolds and his dedication to trying to do it as faithfully as possible is really admirable. Because especially if that's your bread for most actors, it is your bread and butter is your physicality.
Yeah.
To be like, no, I'm willing to wear a mask 90% of the movie, and for the other 10% be ugly as fuck.
Right.
That's a lot of credit there.
Agreed.
He uses the match in the hyperbaric chamber to blow the place up. Francis shows up. They fight in the flames. Francis Francis like shoves Wade through rebar and then bends the rebar. And I just want to point this out because when they're going like Angel Dust is super strong, and I don't have feeling my nerve endings don't work or something.
Yeah, and I don't have pain receptors.
And it's like, but also power. Yeah, and also, but clearly you're super strong though. That's in there. That's in the mix.
No, he has to be. Exactly.
He says he has heightened reflexes or something. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that still wouldn't. You got shot a lot.
Ajax is in the comics, right, Francis?
Yep. Ajax is there. Yeah.
The only Deadpool villain I remember from a kid is I think Slayback. It was like a cyborg guy, which would have been cool, but probably would have cost them money. So whatever. Francis leaves Wade to die, even though he said Wade can heal from anything. So he's aware that this shouldn't kill Wade.
Right.
All right. Or at least he commented on healing cancer. I guess maybe he doesn't know the levels, whatever.
Yeah. They don't want you to care.
Yeah.
you know, it's funny because
movie,
like
I do care.
I know we need a Tony Stark like is in the cave kind of sequence where he's in this place and it's horrible, but we also don't want to be here very long. Like we know that we know when we cut back, it's going to be on the highway.
Yes.
So we got to get out of here.
I think we might be just off the highway. So Wade, and Wade decides not to tell Vanessa because he's fucking ugly. Again, not that ugly.
Well, and also like doesn't even. I mean, like that's a rom-com. Like this is using rom-com tropes in as much as you're like, okay, so clearly what you want to do is we're doing the rom-com tropes because any normal person would just talk to them anyway. Like you would at least figure it. You know, there'd be some kind of conversation, but nope. Because they do thinking for another person, they like live in a crack house and they like are trapped in like, you know, they spend a year or two away from each other because of this. It's like, and then only to discover like, oh no, actually it would have been fine. It
would have been fine. Yeah. If he was like Darkman levels fucked up, like really like kind of like, ooh, this is a problem.
We'd understand. Like we'd be like,
more.
Yeah. We'd be kind of like rooting for him to do it. Like, but because he's Deadpool now, all I want is for him to continue to be Deadpool.
Yep. So he goes to TJ Miller, and we get TJ Miller provides some of the good jokes in the movie, not surprising. And this leads to creation of the name Deadpool. And I'm not sure if they put a lampshade on it, but like he's like Captain Deadpool. I'm like, I don't know that makes this
funnier,
better.
Nope. I also did not have a good reaction to it. Like I was like, I know that's funny.
Yeah. It's one of those like one of my pet peeves in writing is when somebody says like, somebody says a bad line. I'm really like stoking the fires in this one. Not a big fan of Birdman, the Michael Keaton toy Birdman, and I use this as an example of things I don't like about Birdman. It's not just this, but one of my least favorite bits of writing is when somebody says a hacky line of dialogue and somebody else is like, "Did somebody write that for you? That's a bad piece of dialogue." What that tells me is that you know that this is so. Just don't do it. If you know him looking at the Deadpool and deciding that's where he gets his name is kind of hacky, just don't do it then. Don't joke about it. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it. I know. I completely agree. Did you see that TikTok that Scorsese thinks that Birdman's better than The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
I agree with Martin Scorsese on a lot of things. Runtimes is not one of them, and
his Birdman opinion.
And Birdman opinion. What the fuck? Well, that doesn't surprise me, man, because like Birdman is a classic. Like, didn't win an Oscar or some shit.
Yeah,
it's the classic Hollywood jerking itself off thing. Like, like the power of cinema, and it's like I'm in the movies, man. I'm sitting in the theater watching a movie. I get the power of cinema. You don't need to. I'm converted. Like, fucking calm down.
You don't have to lie to me. Tell me that Birdman's better than The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
When you grow up in the church and there's like a guest speaker and they're like, "Did you know Jesus loves you?" Like, come on, man.
That's like the first thing I knew.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm already here.
Yeah, I'm in church. You have to convince me to go to church, not to. You're preaching. There's an expression for it. It's literally the thing we're doing right now.
You're doing right now, fucking. But Hollywood loves that shit, man. They do. Like everybody like falling over themselves for what was it, the Fablemans? And listen, I'll give Spielberg a little slack. If anybody's earned to make a movie of their life, he has. All right. But also, like, I don't care.
It's funny. I never really knew enough about Spielberg. I never bothered to learn. I was like, I don't want to know anything about him. I just want to see what he has to do.
Yeah. Did you see the Fablemans?
No, I still haven't seen it. I gotta watch it.
I don't know that you gotta, but I will say that it's worth it for the final scene. I don't want to spoil it.
No, I've seen him tell that story before.
Yeah. Oh my god. I had forgotten. Spoilers for Fableman. No, I'm not. I won't spoil the Fablemans on a Deadpool podcast. Fuck that. It's just one of my favorite directors that, in my mind, exists in a completely different reality, like literal reality, than Steven Spielberg shows up, and it's a cameo playing a different famous director,
right?
In Fablemans, and that scene, that 2.5-hour movie, is worth it just for that one scene.
Yes,
that one scene is fucking genius. Anyway. And just the idea of Spielberg being in a room talking with this guy, like they had to have a conversation. Like, what did they talk about? I want to be a fly on that wall.
Yeah, big time. No, yeah.
Anyway, sorry everybody. We get a fun montage where Deadpool's hunting down Francis. A lot of solid jokes. He's making his costume. This montage is pretty great.
Yeah.
This leads up to the present with the taxi ride that we started the movie with.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we at? Yeah, okay. We might be entering the third act. It's still a weird time to abandon our flashback structure, in my opinion.
Yeah, but like, where are we gonna flash to now? We've done them all. Like,
maybe pace it better. Then maybe distribute your flashbacks in a more cohesive way.
Yeah,
is all I'm gonna say. Just do another pass on the fucking as a writer and an editor. Somebody needed to do. These are pet peeves of mine. Somebody needed to do another pass somewhere. Anyway. We learned that Deadpool is living with Al, who's a character we literally just introduced. She's a blind woman that he met at a laundromat. I do like Al. It's weird that she's been introduced so late in the game.
Yeah. She's great, though. And in the comics.
Yeah. And we also get the great where he's talking to Al and he caresses her face with his little regrowing baby hand, which might be my favorite, the funniest image in the whole movie to me.
Yeah.
Francis shows up at the bar. Okay. Yeah. He's figured out. Francis figured out that it's Wade. Yep. He goes to the bar, and which motivates TJ Miller to reach out to Wade to go to the strip club where they find Vanessa, who's been working as a stripper. This is where we get our Stan Lee cameo. He plays the DJ at the club.
Give it up for Chastity.
It was probably Stan Lee's favorite cameo that he's ever filmed.
He's like interviewed about it. It's cute. Like he stands it up.
Yeah. He's like the one with the titties. Yeah, that was my favorite.
Well, I created Stripperella.
Yeah. that's my go-to when I try to explain like some of my feelings on Stan Lee. It's like without Stan Lee, Jack Kirby created the Fourth World, Darkseid, Orion, all that stuff. Yeah. Without Stan Lee, Steve Ditko created The Question. Without Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby, Stan Lee created Stripperella. So
right.
Just put it out there.
Yeah.
And together they created some of the most iconic characters of all time. So Wade bails on revealing himself to Vanessa one last time, just so she can be kidnapped by Francis. Wade gathers every gun that is hidden in the apartment to go save Vanessa. Wade recruits Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and with a little joke of like, "Oh, it's weird that it's only two of you in the mansion. It's almost like we didn't have the budget for more."
Good line.
In the taxi ride, we learned that Dopinder followed up with Deadpool's advice and kidnapped the rival for the girl he wants affection, who's in the trunk, which this guy is having a bad day. Not good. The guy in trunk not having a good day because he's gonna get in a car accident later, hit on the trunk.
Yeah.
We play X Gonna Give It To You by the late Max. That is who does X Gonna Give It To You, right? DMX.
I think so.
Yeah, let's just say it is. And they approach, as Sal pointed out, a non-labeled helicarrier, what's the word I'm looking for? A not legally actionable helicarrier.
Yes, it's 25% more distinct from its previous origins. It's great. I was like, that's cool because like you could actually kind of say maybe this is in that universe.
Yeah.
It was just it's a fun set piece that like works.
Yeah,
it's a great action set piece. It's fun. I didn't even notice really it was a helicarrier the first time I saw it. I remember the second time I was like, oh my god, it's a helicarrier. And then at first I thought it was just an aircraft carrier, but which I'm sure in the script it says.
Yes, yeah, it's in the script. It says aircraft carrier that may or may not be able to fly.
Right,
hella wise. And it turns out, oh no, Deadpool left all the guns behind in the taxi, and this is where Dopinder gets rear-ended. We got no guns for our final fight scene.
Yeah.
This was intentional, not a rewrite,
and not because we ran out of money. And I'm but again, I'm like, that's great. Like that is exactly what you're supposed to do when you like realize you run out of money. You pivot and you come up with something and you work it into the story and you make it a whole thing.
It is weird that's like we ran out of money, but we still got like big CGI Colossus running around. We still got big superpowers and stuff like that. It's like, what does money even mean at this point? You're like, what are we talking about?
I guess like once you have the model, it's kind of like, wow.
Yeah,
he's already done.
Yeah, we got it.
Negasonic Teenage Warhead's powers are like, fire. We could do that.
Yeah, listen, man. All those guns and a whole choreographed fight scene, that's expensive. having a bunch of animators in a sweatshop.
Yes,
we don't have to pay those people overtime. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, we just hired another VFX house to finish the movie.
There's just going to be another VFX house that bankrupts themselves trying to make our movie. Who cares?
Yeah.
So
please don't unionize.
Please, joke, please don't. In real life, please do. Please actually in real life do, for your own sakes, for the love of God, please. So Colossus fights Angel Dust as Wade takes on the soldiers with his swords. Negasonic Teenage Warhead definitely kills some of the soldiers because she uses her like impact powers to like ram
squishes him.
Yeah, she murders those guys.
She doesn't care. Yeah, she knows it. She's like, I'm a murderer.
By the way, I don't feel like the X-Men in the previous movies were that picky about murder.
Nope. It's just Colossus.
Yeah.
It's because how will we have a character argue with him about it?
Yeah, and that is the weird thing. That's kind of like the kind of like we're arguing with the general conception of what superheroes are, even though I think so. This is 2016, just 4 years ago. Captain America was using an AK-47 against brainwashed people.
Yeah.
Like they don't like superheroes. Batman threw a bomb down, dropped a guy down a sewer and then threw a bomb at that guy and blew him up. Like,
and then smiled. Yeah. No, he has machine guns on the Batmobile.
Yeah. Superheroes in movies do not care about the no-kill rule.
The movie people have a weird association with superheroes where they're like, well, obviously they have to murder them. Like,
yeah.
You know,
yes.
I don't understand why. Like, in comics, it's like, that these characters are like, to a fault, anti-murder.
Yes.
But once you get to the movies, they're like, they're like, what are you talking about? Like, it's almost like the opposite.
Action heroes, so they've got to kill.
They got to kill somebody. I mean, it's like
kills the bad guy.
It's really weird that like, and I remember noticing it like years ago. Just this kind of like, because it's not just Batman, but even though the Batman one is pretty egregious.
Yeah.
Everybody. And it's almost like at some point or other, like some producer goes in and goes, hey, I noticed the body count doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
Where are the dead people at?
I remember watching the first Iron Man and the first time he uses like the full Iron Man suit and he has those like little missiles come out and hit a bunch of people. I'm like, were those
Tranks?
Tranks? And then like a few more movies into the MCU, you're like, oh no, he killed those guys. They did.
I mean, and back then they were like, yeah, no, he can kill those people. It's fine.
Yeah. It doesn't. We just got a billionaire flying around in a
Ferrari
armor, murdering people across the planet. Who gives a shit? What's the worst that could happen?
What I'm expecting you to do is cheer. Actually,
exactly. Please cheer. Thank you. So in this fight, Deadpool runs into Bob, who is not a Hydra agent in this. No.
But maybe he used to be.
Maybe helicarrier. But yeah, so for it's a comic reference, everybody. That's all that is. That we don't come back to, by the way, in Deadpool 2. Maybe we could get Hydra Bob in Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
For those,
it'll be a different actor.
Yeah, of course it will be. Do we even see this Bob's face? Oh, we do. He takes off his mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. He knocks Bob out. Negasonic explodes Wade up onto the helicarrier so that he can fight Francis. And Vanessa's in the same chamber that made Wade. But Wade throws a sword into it so that it can't like pressurize and like suck the oxygen out and shit. Francis and Wade fight as you do. Francis has his classic weapons of axes, I guess. I don't know.
He's got axes. I think Jax has axes. I don't know.
Ajax has axes. Let's see. Hold on. Let's look it up. If I wasn't hacking a fraud, I would have looked this up before the show. Let's see. Hey, Ajax Marvel Comics, everybody's favorite villain, Ajax. He's right up there with Ezekiel Sims. Yeah. He's got like a shield thing going on.
Yeah, it's not
very not memorable. If I'm going to be honest with you, everybody, I'm looking at Ajax in the comics right now.
I agree.
All right, whatever. Anyway, they fight. He uses axes. It doesn't matter. In the fight, Negasonic is helping with Colossus fighting Angel Dust. She blows up everything. She like literally blows up everything. And Wade puts Vanessa in the chamber to protect. Vanessa got out. Sorry, everybody. Now I'm doing this movie does and jumping around. Vanessa escapes the chamber, helps Wade by stabbing Francis with the sword. Everything blows up. Wade throws her back in the chamber. boom, 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 big explosion, everything collapses. You've watched one of these movies, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Francis reveals that he can't fix Wade. Shocker. And Wade.
Yeah, which why would anyone think that? Like, it's just it's really funny. Like, yeah.
What would you do? What would that look like, Wade? What would that process of? I mean, I guess you becoming ugly is no. It doesn't make sense why your mutant power made you ugly, but whatever. Another good one.
Yeah.
To pair off with Colossus is good. I don't know why I'm playing this game. Nightcrawler would have been another good.
Oh yeah, that would have been great. But it would have made it more unpredictable. He can teleport. He could have taken Vanessa out of there. That's true.
And then you got the question of like, are we going to CG him? Are we going to do the makeup thing?
Are we going to get the other guy? Like, are we going to get Alan Cumming to do it? Because like he hated it. So
yeah.
I don't know.
So all right, Colossus was the right choice. It's just there's other X-Men that could have fit too. Colossus tries to talk Wade out of killing Francis. Wade doesn't listen, and he just kills him anyway. Oh my god!
And no one seems to be that. It's like it's a shame. Like Colossus, like, oh well.
Yeah.
Wade, next time.
Next time, Wade, we'll get you on the side of the Angels one of these days.
Yeah.
Wade apologizes to Vanessa, who's not happy, understandably not happy for Wade bailing on her for, I think we're led to believe, 2 years at least.
I think so.
She takes off the mask. Underneath is a cut off of Hugh Jackman's face from a magazine.
It's a little much.
It's a little much. Also, we see a scene where they throw the magazine in the gun pile, which we left the guns behind. And also, the picture of Hugh Jackman was not big enough to cover Wade's face, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to lay the groundwork for when Hugh Jackman's going to come back for Deadpool 3, everybody. Yeah. She takes off the magazine cover, and Vanessa says, after a lot of drinks, it's a face she'd be happy to sit on. And they kiss. And I think that's a good response, because even if it was horrific, like, you don't necessarily need to look at it all the time.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We get a post-credit scene that's a ref on Ferris Bueller, where Wade tells the audience to go home, and then right last minute he comes back. He's like, "Don't worry, everybody, we're going to do Cable for the sequel," and he throws out a few actor suggestions, which were Dolph Lundgren, Mel Gibson, and I think it's Mel Gibson, and then Keira Knightley, because she's got range.
Yeah,
we should get
those.
Deadpool 3. We should get Keira Knightley to be a version of Cable. That'd be fucking great. Especially since it could be a riff on the whole like Quicksilver thing from WandaVision.
Yeah.
Like, we can't bring back Josh Brolin because he's Thanos. So Keira Knightley is now Cable.
Yeah.
And that'd be good. I'd like that.
Yep.
That's Deadpool, everybody. But that's not the end of the show. God fucking damn it. All right. Don't change that dial, because now we're going to go into X Factor, where we get into some of the behind the scenes of Deadpool. Before we do, Sal, thoughts on Deadpool?
I still like it. I still think it's great. I enjoy it. It's one of those things where it's like, I appreciate what it's doing, and I love the the action. I think is really good, and it's really straightforward. It's not like, it has a style, but it's not overly stylized. It's it fits the mold of the superhero genre while also setting itself apart. Pacing issues notwithstanding, I'm like, this is a good standard. Like, this is a good, item to point at and go like, this is, like, we should think about this when we think about making like a Moon Knight or, at all.
If for nothing else, because I don't know that they need, because I feel like when you say that, people will be like, yeah, rated R Moon Knight. I was like, I think what Sal's getting at.
The problem isn't rated R.
Yeah.
The problem isn't the rating.
But something more standalone and also more mid-budget. Like thinking about more mid-budget superhero movies where you don't need to make back $1 billion to make your budget.
Yeah.
No.
Wouldn't it have been nice if Black Widow only cost $80 to $100 million?
Or like, I don't remember. I don't have the numbers in front of me, or the costs of the various Ant-Men. But like, keep that shit tight. Like, it doesn't need to be. And it's a lesson I kind of hope they learn with the Spider-Man movies. They won't, but it'd be nice if they did. You can keep it. It doesn't need, not like you said. I thought you said it very succinctly. Not every movie needs to be Endgame.
Yeah,
but that's not the way.
Or No Way Home.
No Way Home. That's not where the big betting studio heads think they want to make that $1 billion.
No, I think every Spider-Man movie is going to be No Way Home from now on. Like, every Spider-Man movie is going to be the biggest Spider-Man movie that could possibly be made.
I think this is not the Spider-Verse show, but I think with the Madam Web trailer, I think you're like, how many Spider people can we bring in Spider-Gwen for the next Tom Holland Spider-Man movie? It's like, no, don't.
Right, what? Don't do any of those things. Like, just stop. Just
Yeah.
slow down. Have fun with like these characters. Deadpool. I mean, like, obvious. I mean, look at Deadpool 3. Deadpool 3 is going to like it's multiversal. Wolverine's in it. The people are talking about like, oh, maybe the Fantastic Four will show up. I can't wait for Chris Evans' cameo. And it's like, you don't know shit about what this movie is going to be, but your expectations. I mean, like, Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2. Half of y'all didn't even see the first one, and you're all going to go see it and make it and hinge all your hopes and dreams to it. You could cut the entire Illuminati scene, and you still have a movie.
Yeah, in fact, as you and I have different feelings about the movie, I like it quite a bit.
Yes,
that's my least favorite scene. I don't care about the Illuminati scene. You know what I mean? That's not. Yeah. So it is a bummer that it feels like the studios learned the wrong. I mean, there's a reason instead of getting a Spider-Gwen movie or a Jessica Drew Spider-Woman movie or a Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman movie, we're getting Madam Web with all of them. It's like, that's not.
Yeah, they're a team. We got to Justice League this.
And also, apparently, this isn't Spider-Verse, but it's like, so wait, I'm supposed to believe that all those Spider-Women existed before Peter existed?
Yeah, well, in the multiverse, Peter always existed, but over there.
Great.
I know.
Anyway, X Factor. So here's some behind the scenes stuff. In February 2004, writer director David S. Goyer and Ryan Reynolds were working on a Deadpool film for New Line Cinema because they'd worked together on Blade. Apparently Ryan Reynolds was interesting because I guess in the comics, the character refers to himself as Ryan Reynolds crossed with a Shar-Pei. We get an echo of that joke in this movie, which I don't. He like compares himself to a mutated Shar-Pei. It's like, do you know what Shar-Peis look like? Because there are other uglier dogs, I think. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This fell apart because of rights issues with 20th Century Fox, obviously. And this all led to there was some interest at Fox. This led to the cameo in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which apparently that movie did. The X-Men Origins Wolverine did well.
Yeah.
Which is why we got Wolverine sequels, which are good because the sequels are good, but they're baffling that Origins did well.
Well, I mean, because who's not going to go see that? I saw it, even though it was, but I didn't know it was going to be shit until I saw it.
Yeah, you're right. We got in the super chat. Lenny Laserdisc says, "Hi guys, I really enjoy both Deadpool movies and fingers crossed for Deadpool 3 next year. Side note, I've been catching up on Spider-Verse and I'm almost all the way caught up. Thanks as always. We're in Spectacular Spider-Man, everybody. So
yeah,
there's some good shit right now. We're in some good shit.
Thanks,
and we're going to be doing Across the Spider-Verse probably sometime early next year. So fucking stay tuned for that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Originally, Robert Rodriguez was approached to direct this movie, and I want to see that version.
I used to want to see that until I saw Boba Fett.
Listen, man, I like Boba Fett better than The Mandalorian, and it's because of the Robert Rodriguez bonkersness. Everybody flipping out. When does that guy do that little flip move? Because Robert Rodriguez thought it looked cool, everybody.
Yeah, I don't care about that as much as I care about how much I don't care about anything that happens to Boba Fett.
And listen, man, did I see the Ben Affleck Robert Rodriguez movie that came out this year? No, I didn't.
Oh, I didn't either.
Is Robert Rodriguez a coin toss? Yeah, but sometimes, man.
But sometimes it's. Oh, I know. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Sometimes. And yeah, good, whatever. So you're like, DJ, wait, so X-Men Origins Wolverine did well. Fox is interested. We got Robert Rodriguez on board. What could possibly throw off? And this is all in what? Like 2005. 2009 is when X-Men Origins Wolverine. What could have thrown this off so many years? Well, a little movie called Green Lantern did not do so hot in its theatrical run, was not well received. And this tainted the Deadpool project. And Fox executives were already concerned about the R rating.
Yeah.
And they had several meetings trying to get it to be PG-13. And so finally they gave the director Miller Sal, guess how many figures they got to do the test footage that leaked and we all saw.
I don't know. I mean, it's because it's all CG, right? Like there's no live action in it.
By the way, I think Tim Miller did. If you all remember, David Fincher was a part of a Kickstarter to do a CG animated Goon movie. Tim Miller, I think, was a part of that, the studio that was doing that. If you look at his stuff, he did a lot of like this type of thing, CG, like concept footage and stuff like that.
Right. I don't know. Like, $1 million?
They got a low 6-figure budget to produce the test footage.
Okay.
6 figures, man.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's all. Again, I can make a movie for that money.
Yeah, I don't need
like a whole movie, 2 hours.
Yeah, there are beloved movies that came out in the last 20 years that didn't cost that. Like
test footage. I don't even know how long that test footage was. It was like, it's got to be less than 10 minutes.
It's like 2.
Fuck me. All right. Anyway, the footage did not convince Fox to greenlight the film, but you're like, wait, DJ, I just saw a whole Deadpool movie. Well, fun fact. Sal and I were in our prime when this happened. We were around for this stuff. For you youngins that don't remember, this footage leaked.
This footage was released probably by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, so I pulled this up. The test footage was leaked online in July 2014 and was met with an overwhelming enthusiastic response. That September, Fox gave Deadpool a release date of February 12, 2016. Reynolds attributed Fox's greenlight of the film entirely to leak. He, Miller, and the writers had previously discussed leaking the footage themselves, and Reynolds initially thought that Miller had done so. He later believed the leak came from someone at Fox. In exchange for being able to make the film the way they wanted, Fox gave the crew a much smaller budget than the typical superhero film. They fucking leaked that. Fuck off. You leaked that footage.
Yeah. No, you liars. No, I believe the way I want to believe it is they had a meeting, right? Yeah. Where they showed the footage. They went, come on, let's get going. And they were like, we're never going to make that movie.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, let's leak the footage now.
Yep. And it worked. It worked. And it worked for Fox too, man. They fucking made their money off this thing. So, whatever. Fucking Godspeed. Leak that footage. 48 hours before the film received the official green light from Fox, the studio cut its budget. The sentence is worded weird. I believe what they're saying is they cut the budget by 7 or 8 million, which put it down to 58 million fucking dollars. Fucking God fucking damn it. Well, it's so little money. Anyway, sorry. Fucking whatever. This forced a last minute rewrite that saw about 9 pages cut from the 110-page script. Changes include the removal of a motorcycle chase at the end of the 12 bullets fight and having Deadpool forget the bag of guns before the final battle sequence to avoid having to shoot a costly gunfight in the third act. Reese said, quote, it was that last lean and mean chop that got us to a place where Fox was willing to make it. The script was very efficient and not too long. That was a function of the budget more than anything. But I think it really made the movie pace nicely. Again, I've got issues with the pacing, but I understand what you're trying to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there you go. There's some behind the scenes tiddly bits for Deadpool. Now we move on to New Mutants, where we think what, if anything, the MCU will utilize from this one. And this is a unique situation where the third part of this movie is part of the MCU.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
This is where we're starting to see the crossovers. It's one of the only times it's going to happen with this show.
Yeah. Yes. The MCMU, the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, multi-universe. So Sal, what lessons are to be learned from this movie? What are we going to see from this? Do we think, obviously we're getting Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
We've known for a while that Secret Wars is supposed to be the every multiverse everybody. So I would bet dollars
to donuts.
Deadpool's going to be in that one.
I would be stupid not to put Deadpool in that.
How do we think Deadpool is going to be utilized in the MCU moving forward?
Yeah, it's a great question because I would have assumed that you just the quickest and easiest solution possible, just get him in the universe so we can start having fun and using the character as much as possible.
Yeah.
But clearly based on not leaks, but official production photos and leaked photos of those production set pieces, we know that there's going to be a multiversal situation. We know that it's going to be, I don't want to spoil too much, but we've seen Wolverine, I think that by and large, Deadpool 3 will take place behind the curtain of the Marvel Universe / multiverse. I don't think that you're going to see Deadpool in the same plane of existence as Kamala Khan. I think until maybe the mid-credit scene or the last scene of the movie. I genuinely think that you're going to have more of a Loki situation in your hands where it's going to be taking place primarily through the TVA and the multiverse itself. You're going to see a lot of different fun references, probably mostly just Fox based stuff. If the mid credits of the Marvels any indication, I think that like Marvel is emboldened to play with / utilize any element of the Fox verse that they have that they feel like at their whimsy. So like
Marvel and presumably Kevin Feige is very convinced that what we want is to see the MCU crossover with the Fox X-verse, and I don't know that I agree with that.
I'm done with it, but I guarantee that if we do incursions and the Fox and we get to the last two universes smashing into each other, it will be the Fox universe and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like it straight up is going to be like those are the two primary universes. Well, because between them, there's only one interconnected universe that actually like succeeded in any way outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's Fox because they were able to make over a dozen movies.
Yeah, man, you're probably right. It is. So wait. Light spoilers. Sorry, everybody. It has been over a week since this movie came out.
Yes.
Not even. I guess light spoilers because it doesn't matter. I don't know. Spoilers for the Marvels. Everybody, spoilers for the Marvels. You haven't seen the Marvels. Here comes some spoilers for them. The Marvels. Mm-hmm. So that movie ends with Tony Paris's Monica Rambeau ending up in another universe that happens to have her mom, who is binary. And that's what Sal and I had a conversation. I went out of the movie. In that movie, there's like a big reveal where it's like, look at Maria Rambeau's new costume. I'm like, what is this to me? And it wasn't until like the next day that I was like, oh, wait, is that the binary costume? Sal pointed out, apparently they literally say the name, but I missed that.
It's true.
So I guess she's binary. That's fine. Carol Danvers had like a billion code names. Farm them out to people. Who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Am I supposed to understand that is the Fox X universe?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the reason why we're meant to think that is because behind Beast, we see the like Fox X door.
Oh, okay.
And I say that only because like those guys loved that door.
They love the fucking door, man. That danger. No, it's not the danger room door. It's the door to Cerebro.
Yeah, the Cerebro door. I genuinely think that they love that door a lot. And like, I think that like that door says more than just it needs to be in a scene. Because it could have easily been that scene could have taken place on Sword. Because like clearly Saber in the MCU is Sword, but they couldn't use the name.
But we burned Sword. Didn't we burn Sword in WandaVision?
Are they Sword? I think they're Saber.
Sword was the organization that went after Wanda and WandaVision, and it had nothing to do with space.
Right.
And now Saber's a separate thing.
Right.
Yeah.
In any case, it could have been a Sword station with like Abigail Brand and stuff, but they didn't do that. They wanted it in the Xavier mansion. They want you to think that universe, that movie.
I think you are right in that it's going to be more like Loki with it's behind the curtain, because it would surprise me, considering Deadpool's supposed to be R-rated. I'll believe it when it's in theaters R-rated. They say it is, but people say a lot of things.
Totally.
That they're going to bank, like, because you could make the argument that this would lead directly into Secret Wars. That this incursion thing you're talking about, that's that.
Yeah.
But I just would surprise me if they put that in a Deadpool movie. Like something that key in a Deadpool movie.
I would normally say that to you, yes. In 2018, I would say that.
Yeah.
In the current landscape of the MCU, I think more people will go see Deadpool 3 than saw the Marvels or Multiverse of Madness. I think that Deadpool 3 is their like for everybody's like enthusiasm about like Multiverse of Madness. Like I remember Multiverse of Madness, they were like, this is it! Like everyone took all their enthusiasm from No Way Home and then heaped it all onto Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I think that Marvel is going to bank on Deadpool. Like I think Deadpool is
wild.
I wouldn't be surprised because they haven't shot half the movie yet. Like, or at least that's what I gleaned from the director. Like they were talking about how, like they're like we had time. We shot and cut half the movie.
Yeah,
like it's cut.
Yeah,
and we got a whole rest of the movie to go. They could, and knowing Marvel, they could be like they could quietly funnel in another $50 million.
Yeah.
And be like, this is the next chapter. Like,
this, well, and truthfully, somebody
could kill Kang.
Somebody, have you caught up on Loki?
Yeah,
they have a perfect. They never need to mention Kang again.
Oh, I know.
If they do, they fumble the ball hard because you guys gave yourself the perfect out to be like, we're
done with that.
Done with Kang. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And truthfully, even without the Jonathan Majors stuff, just on Kang's representation in the MCU so far alone, I'd be like, yeah, be done. It's not good, guys. It's not. It's not working.
It's never going to be what you want it to.
Yeah, just fucking let it go. But I think now that you say that, I think you might be right, because the other thing is somebody posted. I keep a running calendar of like releases, so I know what we're going to be doing on the show or whatever, and I worked into next year because I'm working on some other projects that are going to take up a chunk of my time, and so I kind of want to work ahead, right?
Yeah.
And of course that's changed a lot over the past few months. Things have been punted over. The only MCU movie, Sal, the only MCU movie we're getting next year is Deadpool 3.
Right, it's the big one. That's it. That's the only one, and it's a
tentpole. Moved.
Yeah, and he's the only one people all unanimously agree they love, except for Wolverine, who's also in the movie. Like, it's a slam dunk for them conceptually, where they're like, this, in a world where we shouldn't be expecting movies to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
I think Deadpool 3 could make $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you brought up Longshot, and I think that's what Planet C in my head.
Well, I kind of expect Mojoverse to be in this movie.
Would he'd make, if we're doing the multiverse thing, Mojo, that in Deadpool, Mojo, it's kind of like when, and unfortunately it was shoehorned in, I felt like it was shoehorned in. Ant-Man is the perfect movie to introduce MODOK, right?
Yes.
You're not going to introduce MODOK in fucking Iron Man.
No.
Ant-Man's got the tone that you could do MODOK, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Deadpool's the one, that's where Mojo fits in.
Yes.
And also the R rating helps you with that, because it's
because he's so gross.
Yeah, there's, unless you like really go like Jabba the Hutt with it.
Yeah,
and it's like he's not human.
Yeah, I mean, they could make TJ, you know, if they were willing to cast TJ Miller again, you know, you can make TJ Miller into Mojo and just be like, haha.
Yeah.
Like, he's stunt casting galore with Mojo, you know. Wow. I mean, Mojo could just be the Harvey Weinstein character if you hadn't already made him the villain of your Black Widow movie.
Yeah. Listen, just cast Tom Cruise as the character.
Oh my God, Tom Cruise is Mojo
and Tropic Thunder,
dude.
Oh that's my God. Well, no. What they'll probably do is spoilers for the next one. I believe Juggernaut was played by Ryan Reynolds.
He was, yeah.
Just have him play Mojo too. Just like, hey man, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, do you think? And this is going to be a longer conversation, so I don't. Are we getting to? Not even necessarily like a semi-hard reboot post Secret Wars, like, and is that what we're waiting for to introduce the X-Men in the MCU?
It could be. Like, I had a vision not too long ago of like a post Secret Wars Marvel universe that just kind of celebrates that, like, where we like pan over like New York, and Iron Man flies by, and you have no idea who's in there, and Spider-Man flies by, and you have no idea who's in that suit, and you have like the, you know, you have like the Black
Tower or something.
Like,
yeah,
you could have the Fantastic Four's Baxter Building, like in the skyline. Like, you could do all those things as your like kind of swan song for everyone in the universe, and go like, and now we're going to pick and choose.
Yeah.
You know, like, Kamala Khan is young enough; she will continue to be Ms. Marvel. You know, and but Robert Downey Jr.'s out, and this guy is in. You know,
I was thinking the other day, I think that'd be a fucking fantastic finale to Secret Wars. And I do see a reality. I don't know that they will do this, but I do see a successful reality for the franchise where we treat it like James Bond.
Right.
Like it's Steve Rogers' Cap, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, Tony Stark is Iron Man.
Yes.
But as it goes on, maybe this actor doesn't want to be Tony Stark anymore, so now it's a new guy. That doesn't necessarily mean we change Cap.
Yeah, it's Batman. I mean?
And they don't need to Batman too. Like,
we didn't change Commissioner Gordon or Alfred, or like, you know, and we fired all the girls.
It's not a new universe. It's not just sometimes we switch out the actors, and that's what we're and it is interconnected. It is lightly interconnected. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we did that thing and we did it successfully, but it's not something that can.
It's not sustainable.
It's not. It does not appear that it is a sustainable model.
Yes.
So
and I bet though, like, we would like to normalize swapping out actors.
Yes.
Who like either, you know, get into a legal snafu or have a contract dispute.
Yeah.
You know, if Quentin Tarantino is to be believed, and the celebrity is done and the superstar is gone, then let's lean into what killed it, which is franchises and characters.
Yeah. So last but not least, Generation X. This is where we do our ranking of the X-Men franchise so far, where we think the movies land for us. Sal, would you like to start from the top or the bottom for Deadpool?
Yeah, let's start at the bottom.
Okay. So for me, currently and probably always, the bottom is X-Men Origins Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine continues to be the gold standard for crap. It will be the worst for me. Yes.
Next worst. We might get into some. There might be some competition for this one later down the line, but right now it's Last Stand.
Yes. X-Men 3 Last Stand is the next worst.
Yeah. So this is where some controversy on my list is going to come in.
Sure.
I will willingly admit there's a pretty significant gap between Last Stand and the next one on this list.
Yes, just because they're next doesn't mean they are the worst.
Yes. And that's Deadpool for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think so. I'm going to put okay. This one's tough because the next ones we have are just X-Men movies. Right? It's just 5 X-Men movies. Yes. And that's it. And Deadpool.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll put First Class.
All right. For me, First Class is next. I prefer First Class more than Deadpool.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I think I prefer Deadpool to First Class, so I'll put Deadpool after First Class.
Okay, so we're in the same ballpark. We're in the same ballpark here. Mm-hmm. After that is the Wolverine for me.
Yeah, the Wolverine. You know what? I'm going to switch it out.
Yeah.
I'm going to go First Class, the Wolverine, Deadpool.
Okay. All right. Deadpool working his way up the list.
Yeah.
So next for me, after the Wolverine is X1.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Agreed?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And then X2.
And then X2, and then no. For me, it's X-Men 1 and then X2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So for me, it's X1, X2, Days of Future Past. For me, is the top of the.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
For now, I'm going to stick with X1, Days of Future Past, X2.
Completely understandable.
I love Days of Future Past, but I still can't get over the feeling and the excitement and the potential of what X2 represented. 100%. But I really love Days of Future Past, and I loved what we did. I loved all that fun, like Easter egg stuff. So we'll see.
All right, that is our ranking. Let us know in the comments down below where you rank the movies we've talked about so far. I believe next is Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So we're in some bumpy. We had the high of Days of Future Past and Deadpool, and now into some bumpy territory.
Yeah, we got some competition for the bottom.
Yeah. Bumpy territory for here on out, give or take another Deadpool and a Logan.
Deadpool, Logan, and I think New Mutants might surprise.
Yeah, New Mutants might surprise. I don't think Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix will.
No.
Have you seen
especially Dark Phoenix? I've never seen all of Dark Phoenix.
All right. I'm excited for that one. Stay tuned, everybody. So we do this every third Wednesday on youtube.com/onlystupidanswers. On patreon.com, we do Spider-Versity. We're actually at the tail end of covering Spectacular Spider-Man. After we finish Spectacular Spider-Man, we'll be doing Across the Spider-Verse. So stay tuned for that. And eventually we'll be doing Madam Web and Craven. So get excited, everybody.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Sal, where can the kids find you?
Swing on youtube.com/Compop or Compop Returns, and we'll see you there.
All right. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash. You can follow the show everywhere that matters at Only Stupid Answers, but yank the vowels out of stupid. And be sure to tune into our podcast every Monday. Sal, Johnny, and I talked about Spider-Man 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, the video game. And that's going to be coming out around, I think, the Monday after Thanksgiving. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.